It's DEW Time with Pastor Steph.
Good morning, good morning, good morning. Rise and shine. You're on with this DEW Time with Pastor Steph. How are you this morning? That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. For this is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. So, where were you yesterday? Well, yesterday was Wow Wednesday, and we started off with our girlfriend Vivian and her socially conscious segment. And she started talking about them gas bills. Didn't she tell us about these gas bills a couple weeks ago? Oh, Vivian starts off our morning with some information. We don't want to hear about no gas bills going up. They will be going up. National Grid is the they. Will be going up on our gas bill up to $62 a month by this time next year. Yeah, they're going to start in September, giving us some little incremental percentage increases, and some places a little higher than others, but nonetheless, we are all getting a big fat increase by the time this is all over. And you know, Pastor Steph, I like to round up. $65 is what we would be looking at if you really want to count, if you really want to push your pennies up and just round up, So I don't know. I don't know if anybody is smiling over that. Hopefully, we won't see any increases after that for quite some time. Well, New Jersey is honoring the 6,888 women of color who made sure that those overseas got their mail. Back in the day, the military personnel got their mail. The movie 6,888. Yes, those women, and you can check it out on Netflix. Yeah, it's a nice movie that you might want to see. Well, New Jersey is taking some time to honor those individuals, and in May they're gonna give a nice little celebration. Yeah, and they deserve it. Again, go watch the movie. You're going to see exactly why they are being honored. Here we go. MTA. Always doing something. Well, MTA has taken out some wooden benches, but they're taking out more, and they are replacing them with metal leaning bars. Another. Yeah. Listen, you have this issue of money. That's just the bottom line. It's definitely not who they can accommodate better, because if you talk about the elderly and disabled, you got a whole wall there that you can now, lean on. If you're going to give them something to lean on, they already got something to lean on. Okay. However, they can't lean all the time, and they need to have a seat. So these leaning bars are really not going to do a whole lot for certain individuals, but it'll make the MTA happy. And they're talking about updating their lighting strips to make room for LED lights. And they claim that these LED lights will help the cameras and save $6 million. I tell you, the bottom line is always the dollar. Always the dollar. Okay. Well, the Trump administration is in trouble with the judges, and they were told, not to take that plane off the ground. And they did, because you know how Trump, he's going to do what he wants to do, especially when it comes to this deportation thing. He don't care who he gets under his thumb when it comes to this deportation issue. But yeah, he's going to get it going. And he was told to, don't take these individuals, and he did. So he was, mandated to now comply. And I'm sure that is not going to make him happy. And in all the melee, a mother of 5 was deported to Asia, a part of Asia she knows nothing about, 37-year-old woman. And they are holding all her documents. Yes, not only are they holding all her documents, but she has no insulin and is running out of her high blood pressure medication. And I don't have to tell you, going into a brand new country and you don't have no meds, that is not going to be the safest thing for her. Why? Because they ain't gonna care nothing about her. They're not gonna care anything about her. In my closing yesterday, I mentioned staying on the right side of the law. We know that he is deporting people regardless of whether, you are a criminal or not. Because in some areas, you are not a criminal at all, and they are carting you up out of here. And then on the other hand, they're out here for the criminal immigrants that are here illegally. And you would like to think that she would have a fighting chance for her 5 children if they didn't have some marijuana case against her. Yeah. And, unfortunately, she got caught up in it. I don't know what happened. I don't need to know the details, but she served time for this marijuana charge. And unfortunately, they're not going to fight because they're going to look at you as a typical average criminal. So, prayers up to her, for her, not to her, but for her. And, hoping that she can get, out of that, they can get attention to to their mother. And this is scary. This is scary, being separated into a country where you know nothing about and you don't have your family, your children. Yeah, that ain't the best thing. So this is how we spent our Wow Wednesday. All right. So go back and watch. Go back and watch and catch up on all the, information that I didn't just give you, because it was a full day. Oh, it was a full morning. Okay. Well, today is Therapeutic Thursday. Yes, today we talk about our health. Get those pens and papers out because I have a little information that you just want to, might want to jot down. So while we get prepared, I will give you an opportunity to go get that healthy breakfast. Go tell somebody that it's Due Time with Pastor Steph is on. And whatever you do, don't go anywhere because we will be right back.
Babies until she was 90 years old. She never lost a mother in childbirth, despite working in poor rural communities with no hospital support. Her expertise, passed down through generations, saved countless lives. Have you heard of Margaret Charles Smith? Let's celebrate her legacy.
I lived 3,500 babies for Green County. Now they have sometimes 4 babies a night. Each time I get here, I'd be about ready to go. The man had to wait till I get through. Pick me up and carry me to the next place. And on. I wave water up over my knees and get to people's houses. Ooh.
Good morning, and good morning again. Thank you for joining me again on It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. And today is Therapeutic Thursday. Yes, the day we talk about our health. And speaking of health, this woman we just saw delivered all those babies. Man, thank God for women like her. And that's who we are saluting, women like her, for our Women's History Month. Yeah, they've got like several different titles going on. And, giving God thanks for the paths that women have paved for us. Yeah, to come up. So there you have it for your DEI. She ain't think about no DEI. So, hey, giving God thanks for her. All right. Well, you know how we do. Please make sure you check in so Pastor Steph knows that you're in the room. We got to check in from our girl, Ketty. Hey, Ketty. Thank you so much for joining us. And of course, our guy, Terrence, is in the room. Hey, Terrence. How are you? Thank you so much for joining us. And we've got our resident MTA guy, our Serge. Good morning, Serge. Thank you so much for joining us. And we got our girl Vivian in the house. Good morning, Viv. Thank you so much for joining us. Hope to see your face in a couple minutes. And we've got Miss Charlene. Hey, Miss Charlene. Thank you so much for joining us. And we have the ladies who always hold it down for us in the background. Yes, we don't get to see their faces. Well, one face we don't get to see, but we definitely get to see the other individual. And we are going to say good morning to our girls, Shantice. Hey, Shantice. And Anika. Hey, Anika. One day we're going to have to flash and show Anika's face so everybody can get to see, that mystery person that holds it down for us. Yes. We got to check in from our girl, Tamika. Good morning, Tamika. Hope to see you in a couple minutes as well. Yes, I'm looking forward to seeing, our ladies and our gentleman this morning. And let's see what we are talking about this morning for our health tip. I told you to go get those pens and papers because you just may want to jot this stuff down. We're talking about some artery clogging foods, okay, that increase your blood pressure. All right. And we can't have that. So we got to make sure we write these down so we don't forget. The first one they have on the list, sausages. Yes. Processed meats. They're always talking about those processed meats. They say are loaded with sodium, which can lead to water resistance in the body, increasing blood volume and potentially elevating our blood pressure levels. All right. And these meats, such as sausages, typically they say are high in unhealthy fats, including saturated and trans fats, which can contribute to weight gain and abdominal obesity over time. All righty. Okie dokie. What else are we talking about? Fast food. Yes. So we definitely know that fast food is loaded with that high sodium content, and it definitely exceeds the recommended daily allowance for our sodium intake. They say many of the foods that we eat that are fast foods are deep fried, and they are high in unhealthy fats. Trans fats is out there again. Saturated fats, it's out there. And of course, we're talking about this weight gain and around that abdominal area they're always talking about. They say it increases the risk of metabolic disorders and hypertension. All right. So you want to make sure you stay away from burgers and fries and pizzas all the time, because all that salt will definitely shoot your blood pressure up. All righty. What else we talking about? Salty snacks. Well, you're talking about high blood pressure. You got to put the salty snacks down. All right. So they say salt, fat, and carbohydrates, definitely a killer. And they say that it will definitely take those calories up. Those chips, pretzels, salted nuts, and typically, all of those salty foods that you have definitely are loaded with sodium and can lead to water retention in the body and can potentially raise your blood pressure levels. All righty. So stay away. All right. Have a chip every week. We eat, Shantice and I eat a lot of popcorn. Yes, we eat a lot of popcorn. And that is a much healthier snack. Okay. We got to check in from our girl, Sherry. Hey, Sherry. Haven't seen you in a couple of days. Hey, thank you for joining us this morning. Oh, who likes Thousand Island dressing? Yes. And this is the first time I've seen this come up on the list. Now, those other three definitely stay on the list. But Thousand Island dressing in and of itself, I have never seen come up. I can't eat it because it's got eggs in it. So that helps. Yay. All right. And high fat content. Okay. And they say that it can definitely increase the bad cholesterol in the body. Okay. So you want to make sure you stay away from a lot of Thousand Island dressing. So if you're eating a lot of salad, you're trying to eat the salad to cut down on your carb intakes and your eating that other bad food. But if you're throwing the Thousand Island on it every day, twice a day, they say it can put a strain on your heart, increasing the risk of cardiovascular issues. Wow. That's interesting. French dressing. Wow. I thought they would hit us with French dressing for the sugar, because that's on the sweet side. Well, nope. They say go for the simple vinaigrette, because the store-bought versions of French dressing, so I guess you need to go and find out how to make your own. They say that can negatively impact your cardiovascular health. Some brands have as much as 5 to 7 grams of sugar. I told you about that sugar per tablespoon, and they say that adds up quickly. Okay. They say that French dressing is loaded with sodium and sometimes over 300 milligrams per serving. Oh gosh, of sodium. Woo. And that can contribute to your high blood pressure and increased heart disease risk. Bacon. Yes. Again, that processed food, especially for those of you who are still eating that pork. Yes, that is definitely a killer. And they say bacon definitely contributes to high blood pressure and increases the risk of heart disease. The sodium in bacon leads to water retention and elevated blood pressure, which they say can strain the cardiovascular system. They say for a healthier breakfast, swap bacon for lean protein sources such as grilled chicken or turkey breast. For breakfast, oh my gosh, that would kill my stomach. Oh my goodness gracious, that's a lot on your stomach in the morning. They say do the plant-based proteins like lentils and beans because those are excellent alternatives for your bacon. Alrighty. French fries and tater tots. Well, there goes that fast food type food. And they say that French fries are a killer on your cardiovascular area. Yeah. It's the cardiovascular system. They say they contain artery clogging trans fats and an excessive amount of salt. Well, don't put a whole lot of don't put a whole lot of stuff. Salt on your French fries. Okay? Don't do it. So they say that they raise your LDL cholesterol and harden your arteries. Wow. Hardened arteries can hinder blood flow and increase the risk of cardiovascular complications. They say a better alternative, they say, is baking fresh cut potatoes and drizzle them with a little olive oil and herbs. That might not be bad. Listen, I gotta tell you, I don't want no baked French fries. Now, I'll take the baked fresh cut potatoes. That's not bad. Drizzle a little olive oil on it and some herbs. Yeah, your favorite seasoning. You'll be all right. Yes. Pizza. Yep. They say that comfort food pizza is high in saturated fat and sodium content. They say especially when it's topped with processed meats and extra cheese. How else do you eat pizza? Oh my goodness gracious. Now, they say for a healthier option, make your homemade pizza with a whole grain crust, lean proteins like chicken or turkey with plenty of vegetables. Now, I got to share this with you. Pastor Steph made a mean homemade pizza. And actually, that's what I did. Exactly what they said. I loaded that bad boy with onions and peppers and broccoli, mushrooms, grilled chicken, and a couple of other things I can't remember. Feta cheese. And it wasn't loaded with cheese either. And, a little tomato sauce or pizza sauce, whichever one you want. And it was smoking. Yes. And I'm going to tell you something else that I used that wasn't as fattening was the naan bread, Naan. Yes, that is much better than a lot of the other breads. Okay, so try it. It's better than the Domino's and the Papa John's, and yeah, definitely better than those. All right, and it's loaded. If you load it up with vegetables, it tastes so good and it's healthy. So try it. Potato chips is on this list. They say that you are definitely going to want to stay away from a whole lot of potato chips because they risk high blood pressure and heart disease. Okay. They recommend some air popped popcorn seasoned with herbs or homemade kale chips. And they say that's lower in fat and calories, and it offers a much more nutritious benefit. And I've sprinkled, what do you call it? Oh my goodness gracious, on the popcorn. There's a sea salt that they have, and it has chili in it. And oh my goodness, it's this chili flavored sea salt. And it is woo-wee on the popcorn. And you don't have to use a lot of it because it picks up that salt. Yeah. Macaroni and cheese. Yep, that's on the list. And we're talking about those foods that are artery clogging. So the macaroni and cheese, and thank God we don't eat a lot of macaroni and cheese. And that, when I say we, I mean just me and my family, but just people in general. You don't eat like baked macaroni and cheese or things like that a lot. Thank God, because boy, they are not happy with this macaroni and cheese. They say it's a high content of unhealthy fats, and cholesterol will definitely increase your levels of sodium. All right. So they say most people put a whole bunch of butter and full fat cheese, which is, definitely loaded with cholesterol. So you want to make sure that you don't load up yourself on macaroni and cheese. Okay. All right. Let's see. And that's it. Man, that was a list. Okay. Who are we talking to this morning? Did we get any new check-ins? Hey, Daquan, good morning. Haven't seen you around. It's good to see you this morning. And we got a hearty good morning from Pastor KL. He says he's on suicide watch because he loves French and Thousand Island dressing. And if you mix Miracle Whip and ketchup, you have French dressing. Okay, so that's what they're talking about. I have a girlfriend who used to do like mayonnaise and ketchup. And it just was so sweet to me. So there you go. Miracle Whip is the sweet side of mayonnaise. And yeah, that'll get you some French dressing, all right. Pastor Kale is talking about his fried chicken for breakfast. And boy, I tell y'all, I don't know how to eat like that. That would rip my stomach apart. Oh my goodness gracious. Well, you know what? Good for you, Pastor KL. Enjoy your fat, artery clogging chicken first thing in the morning. So you better be on and not smacking on no chicken either. All right? Well, what are we talking about in our news? Well, I do know that in our news, we have one, I started off with a foodie information, although we just came from that. And they are talking about this particular food item. They say that can definitely be dangerous when it's left out. And they call it the fried rice syndrome. And we've talked about this before. And they say this applies to pastas and rices. And, being that we are on video and we have new people on, I definitely wanted to talk about this today as the first item on our news, even though we talked about our, artery clogging food, because this is a very typical thing that's done. People leave out like rice and pastas, and they have a young man who died after eating some spaghetti with red sauce that had been left on his counter at room temperature for 5 days. Now, due time, friends and family, I hope to God this ain't your thing. Now, I know that sometimes we might forget something and leave it out of the refrigerator. And I remember saying this when we did it, when we were on Blog Talk. But 5 days, y'all, I mean, come on. Wait, didn't Pastor Kel said I'm on suicide watch? Yeah. Somebody needs to be on suicide watch for you if you are going to pick up food, any food that has been out for 5 days. expect to die, okay? And you eat it. What did it smell like? Oh gosh. What did it smell like? They say that this particular bacteria will grow on rice and pasta, but can also be found on meat and cheese. And they tell us that you can only eliminate this by high temperature treatment at 121 Celsius, which is not our, because we go by Fahrenheit here in America, for 3 minutes. And they say the toxins they produce cannot be destroyed with heat. So sometimes when you're cooking, like leftovers and things like that, they tell you to cook it and that's why people microwave food a lot, because the heat that a microwave brings will kill a lot of any bacteria, even coming from the refrigerator. Yes, we don't just get bacteria from food that's left out. There is some bacteria that will gather on food in the refrigerator at times. So when you microwave the food for 3 minutes, it kills the bacteria. But for this particular issue, no, it ain't no heat gonna kill that. It'll kill you first. Yes. So this individual was Belgian. And I don't know what they do over in Belgium, but if eating food that's been sitting out for 5 days is the thing to do. So they say death from eating starchy foods left out at room temperature is rare, but there are other issues that you need to be concerned about. Okay, so they say if you eat this kind of food, it will gather food poisoning, and you will definitely go down. You'll have vomiting and diarrhea, and although it might clear up in a few days, again, they say that particular instance was rare, but hey, it happens. All right. So again, I want to remind you that they said your food should not be out, they say, for more than 2 hours. If it's in between 40 degrees and 140 degrees. All right. No more than 2 hours. All right. So make sure you remember that. Okay. Don't say Pastor Steph didn't warn you. All right. What else are we talking about? Well, for those of us who are animal lovers, everybody who say they're an animal lover is not an animal lover, by the way. And you have this gentleman, Stephen Baldwin, who is 44, and he called himself a humane agent and executive director at the Union County Humane Society. And he promised to be I want to make sure I get this. Title he was calling himself. Well, he promised people that if your animals were like difficult to train or they were, ill behaved, that he would take them and he would, train them. And he would tell people he was a big lover of dogs and claimed that he had a 99% success adoption rate for behaviorally challenged dogs. So if you gave up your dog because it just really became, out of the way, driving you crazy, he claimed that he could get these dogs trained and then adopted. Well, he lied. big time. He has been charged with animal cruelty, bribery, theft, and other charges. And what he was doing was he was making these promises that he would again train your dog, then get them adopted. And he was taking the dogs and he was euthanizing them. Yeah, he wouldn't do anything with the dogs. So he did this with one particular couple, and they had a 3-year-old male pit bull named Remy, and he was really nice at first, they said, but then he became a dangerous dog after 2 bite incidences. And they did want to give up the dog, but then they realized that they needed to give up the dog. But he came along and promised that he would be able to train this dog, and then if they still didn't want the dog back, he would be able to get the dog adopted. So this went on for months. This went on, and they kept asking him what was going on with Remy, how's he doing, and he was saying the dog is fine. He charged them $1,000 to remove Remy's dangerous dog label. So after the dogs in this particular county had some incidences, then they would label them dangerous dogs. So in order to get this label removed, they paid him $1,000 to train his dog, and then if they couldn't take him back, then get him adopted. And for months, they say, this went on. He was begging them to begging him to tell them how this dog was doing. How's our baby? Blah, blah, blah. So, oh, he's fine. And then at one point he was saying, well, he's a little ill. And they were asking to see the dog, but he had made it his business to make that something that they didn't do. You don't come visit no dogs. They're behavioral challenge. We're not going to give you back the dog. Well, he had already euthanized the dog. The dog was already dead, and he was telling the people that the dog was alive. How cruel can you be? How cruel can you possibly be? And somehow or another, they ended up finding out, and he was sentenced to 42 felony counts. And he has been sentenced to 15.5 years in jail. And once he completes that jail term, he's going to be on post-release control and parole, in other words. And he will have up to 5 years and no less than 2 years of parole. Really? You did that to yourself. You really did that to yourself. That ain't the smartest thing. So for those of you who, are getting your dogs treated and things like that, try to already find a better way to kind of monitor the dog. Don't sign up for we can't come visit the dog necessarily. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you're going to be, getting your dog treated for or with. But yeah, this was one of the ways he was able to keep them at bay for so long. All right. So there you go. People are so trifling. So trifling. All righty. Speaking of trifling, y'all tell me about these people here. So you got 2 students. I'm going to make sure I say that again. Students who have been arrested for attacking a teacher at their school out in Fort Lauderdale. Okay, so I'm just going to start off this way. You got Javis McClover, 19, and Roderick McQueen, 19, who approached their teacher, they said about 2 o'clock, and first verbally threatened to attack him. Somehow or another, this went back and forth, And then they intentionally launched, they claim, a synchronized physical attack. They had him all over the ground. He was covering up his body. They say in the fetal position. He's had to be rescued by some other school personnel. And they then called the police and they arrested them. And now they're being charged because the teacher, was a male teacher, by the way, had his face all swollen and bruised up and reported pain in his back because of the attack. They were kicking him, had him on the ground, kicking him, beating him up, doing him nasty. Okay. So now he's not, thank God he didn't die. But I got a question. These were high school students. 19. You still sitting up in high school at 19 years old? They probably were frustrated that they hadn't gotten out yet. Because they said that this teacher had reportedly done nothing to them. And, they are definitely going after them. Fullest extent of the law. At 19, you should already be arrested because you're still sitting up in school. And then you got the nerve to be beating up on somebody. Go sit down somewhere. I mean, sit down. Take a hard seat somewhere. A hard seat. All right. And we're going for trifling number 3. We're going to call this Trifling Thursday instead of Therapeutic Thursday because you got these 4 individuals who are scamming people out in Queens with their real estate scam, taking old people's homes. Trifling, okay? So you got these 4 people, 1 chick, 3 guys. She is on the other side of the fence, and needless to say, how they getting in, okay? Meaning they're getting in from her real estate license. Now, 2 of them are real estate agents, but she has the real estate company, and she got these people to sign away the rights to their home. And they say that they've been doing this for years, using fake documents and bogus signatures and false deeds. They say they are calling them the property pirates. Oh gosh, they were trying to get the people. They were getting the people to sign over their homes. They were reselling the homes and then putting the people out of the house and taking the profit. They say that they even had one individual where some third-party property owner tried to sue some of the elderly people because of these property pirates. So in other words, what happened was they got the elderly people to sign over deeds and all kinds of things, right? All these false documents. They then took it somewhere and had another person purchase the sign to purchase the property. And the property wasn't available because the people still had their home because the documents that were signed were forged. And the people who were intending to purchase the home, instead of, suing the pirates, they were suing the elderly people. Well, thank God for the court who was like, go sit down somewhere. Yo, what are you doing? What are you doing? So now on top of having people trying to smoke me out my house, now I got you trying to sue me out my house. Yo, they sold one home for up to $600,000. Trifling Thursday. Where is my due time crew? Where's my girl Tamika at? We need to start trifling Thursday because they are out of control. Good morning, Lady Tamika.
Good morning. How are you today?
I am well, thank you. I am well on this trifling Thursday morning.
Well, I'm having difficulty. I'm having difficulty. You talking fries, pizza, French dressing, all of that. Oh, ow.
Yeah, man. All the good food are the ones that are killing our arteries and making it difficult for our cardiovascular lives.
And you think about it, those are like when you're trying to get something and you're like, save $1, I'll go get some French fries.
Right.
I'll go get a pizza, a slice of pizza.
Right.
And even unfortunately, I'm kicking, Pastor K, even chicken first thing in the morning. It is considerably cheaper than something else. So
yeah, and definitely always cheaper than the healthier foods. Absolutely. So this is how, right? This is how we fall into the bad habits of eating. So let's talk about these trifling people. So you got the guy who's 44, who's taking the dogs who are having behavioral problems, and they are, he's telling the owners, oh, I'll train them, and if I'll get these dangerous dog labels off them if need be, and I'll get them adopted, because they'll be adoptable after they go through my training, charging them at the minimum $1,000. And all of the dogs, Tamika, every dog has been euthanized. It wasn't one dog he did this with. It was every dog. So he's got these people thinking that he's training the dog and he didn't kill the dog. Every dog has been euthanized by him. That he took the people's money and had the people thinking he was training the dog and getting the dogs adopted and was killing the dogs. What are we doing?
Well, one thing you can say, he was honest. Whatever the pet was doing, they won't do it anymore. It's sad, that's only a joke, but honestly, when you think about it,
I got you.
He didn't lie about that part, but to kill a dog, I mean, like, what is it? Do you have a fascination with death? You can't kill a family member or a relative, so you're killing dogs? Like, I don't get it, and I had a pet that had issues, but, I wouldn't even ever fathom killing her. If you want to take care of her and bring her back to me, not this thing about taking her and then I can't even see her and none of that. I want to see the progress. Even if she is being given to somebody else, I want to see the progress. And you literally did that. How horrible. You should serve a year for every not a year, but what did they say? 15 years.
You got 15 and a half years.
15
and 5 years post.
15 and a half years for every animal that you kill.
Wow. Yo, he ain't never coming out of jail.
No, not at all.
He's never coming out of jail. Wow. Okay, well, it's something to think about. And for you to take these people money and then lie and have them hoping that, you're going to be treating their dog properly, stop, just stop. Well, talk about treating people properly. The two 19-year-old high school students. Yo, what we doing? I can't. That's okay. What are we doing? You beating up your teacher? Why? Because you can't get up out of school? What?
And it's not the teacher's fault that you keep getting left back.
Okay.
You think of the names, you automatically know what side of the fence it is. I'm just saying to myself,
absolutely.
Oh my God, the fact that, Al often talks about the things that happen in school, and you as a teacher, if you've got an issue, it doesn't go away, because you put them in a different class. You realize you're still in the same school. The sad part is that this teacher was brutalized by these students, and these children now, they come out the womb mad. Yeah,
Right, right. Everybody
just
got
the trauma.
attitude.
And you still have to go back to that school, especially when you've gotten beaten up by students. Then there's the chatter of all the students.
Right.
That's the teacher got his butt beat by some. The trauma that this teacher has got to go through. You've already, you threatened me, you beat me, and now I'm traumatized because every time I look, somebody's giggling or somebody, I could see them posting things and sending stuff from student to student. So this teacher not only got traumatized, but had salt in the womb by, in the womb by all these people now, staff and other people, you couldn't stand off at these 19-year-olds. I don't know, they coming out bigger than I've ever seen. I went back to my own, I was the littlest one there, and so I don't know what they're putting in the water, but these babies are big.
Man, I wish I had given Shantice the story early because she posts the pictures. You need to see the pictures. Talk about big. So Terrence says they must have failed his class.
He was the one teacher that, how you have some teacher. That's the one teacher. I'm not passing him. And he's probably exactly right. All the other teachers say, regardless, they failing, but just pass them. This one teacher, nope, not my class.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So they were mad. They were mad. And Terrence says, regarding the dog, if we don't do our due diligence by looking up these people, and their history and their backgrounds, then we would not be giving up our dogs to these people for nothing. So it's very true. It's very true. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. We got our girl, Shantice. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you, ladies?
How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Morning.
Good. All right. I gave our lady Tamika the first two stories. I'm going to start with the last story for you. You've got this real estate quad who is ripping people off, and they are taking the elderly people's houses in Queens by having these people sign documents, forging other people's signatures, getting fake deeds, and now reselling these people's homes and getting people's money, down payments and stuff like that. So we really have issues here. What do we do with these people?
Give them like 10 years for each fake deed they were able to draw up, because so you're kicking people out their home and you're fake moving other people in. And it's like, okay, so who do you think is going to end up living in these homes and how comfortably? And when the mortgage company, the banks catch up with them, now they have a headache. Absolutely. And when, they catch up with y'all, it's whatever with y'all, who cares? Because y'all deserve whatever you get. But now you have two people talking about, I'm getting ready to go up in my house. Excuse me? What you mean? No, because I just gave so-and-so a down payment for this. I got the paperwork. Well, I got the paperwork. I've been living here since such amount of years. It's horrible. And unfortunately, they prey on the elderly because they rely on the elderly not taking the time to really read documents, or if they read it, they don't really understand it. They just take people's word for it. Oh, well, you sound like you know what you're doing. So, unless the elderly people have their children or grandchildren or great-grands, I was like, wait, hold up, grandma, because that don't sound too too reassuring. Hold on. This is not making any sense. Unfortunately, they're able, if you have not watched Beekeeper, watch Beekeeper.
Yeah,
that was a phenomenal movie, and this is exactly what that movie is based on. It's based on people who literally build billion-dollar companies off of ripping people off of their money, and it's just like, why is this a career path? Why is this how much money would you be able to make if you actually were doing something legal and that would help the community,
Right,
rather
right,
tear
right.
the community
Absolutely.
down. It's sad.
Right. Right. They've got a 47 count indictment. They say they worked their deed scamming stuff. They targeted homes in Kew Gardens, Queens Village, and Jamaica Estates. So they are really, really, really on it over there. Now we got to check in from, hold on, Koya. Hey, Koya. How are you? Thank you for
Hey.
joining us. And Koya says, they taking advantage of the elderly. And Daquan, did I say hello to Daquan? Yes, I did say hello to Daquan. It's like, yeah, it's really sad. She says, that's why we have to take care of our elderly people. Absolutely, Koya. Terrence says, all the scammers are stupid to me, like they do when they don't know when to stop. They go overboard. Now they end up getting caught. You're right. And Ketty is co-signing on the fact that Beekeeper is a great movie. And Daquan is also co-signing on that. So you've got either the 19-year-old students in high school beating up the teacher, or you've got the dog snatcher who's euthanizing the dogs with the promise of training and getting them adopted. Which story you want?
Both are concerning, but let's go with the senior citizens in high school. What's happening with, because even if you have an early birthday, meaning your birthday is before June, that graduation time, or before September when the school year starts, August or September when the school year starts, depending on where you live. You ain't got no business being 19 in high school. So now you're taking the frustration out of you being illiterate or you just not going to school. Because a lot of us who got left back or had to do extra time in school wasn't because we weren't smart. It's just because we didn't want to go to school. So you get held back, or you have to now repeat classes, or not even repeat because you didn't go when you were supposed to go. So now you got to stay longer to take those classes that you should have taken to follow, the previous year or years before that. So now you're beaten up. And when you were describing it, Pastor Steph, all I envisioned was Lean on Me in the beginning when the students were fighting and the teacher went to go break it up and they started fighting and beating up the teacher and was banging his head so bad they had to call EMS to come and get him because he's bleeding from his. And it's just like, come on, y'all. Like, people can't just be teachers now. Now they have to pass wrestling class and all that in order to teach, because y'all gotta be in here fighting. I remember in high school, like when I was leaving high school, I think it was, that was the start of a lot of the students trying the school agents, trying the security guards, and security guards would literally have to like almost fight the students. And it's like, okay, that's just the beginning. Like, okay, I'm fighting the school agents, now I'm fighting the teachers. And it's like, for what? Like, why? Who raised you? And we know that, you can be raised right and you can still choose to act like you were raised in somebody's park. But it's like, come on. So you think you graduated now? So do you think you're graduating? You already know.
Right, because you in jail. That's where y'all, and the fact that you're 19 years old is going to ensure you're going to jail because you're an adult.
Right.
So, bye-bye.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
So if you thought you got left back before, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen now? So now you're looking forward to going to jail to get your GED in jail? Yeah. Because they don't have caps and gowns in jail, bro.
No, they that sums it up.
There's no pomp and circumstance being played while you walk down the aisle in the prison cell. So you just better look forward to just taking that GED and passing, because that's
absolutely,
that's ridiculous.
Absolutely. Woo, baby. Well, going back, Terrence says it's best to scam people like the beekeepers, because it's hard to get scammers that's on the internet. Yeah, they're hard to trace. Definitely hard to trace. Daquan is laughing at you with senior citizens in high school. He says, but I was one of them kids who just got passed from elementary to middle school. I got to high school and they expected me to know things I didn't because teachers wasn't really teaching. They were more concerned on your behavior. And Koya says, you don't want to go to Rikers. No. We have Athena, a check-in from Athena. Thank you. Good morning, Athena. And she says, greetings to the Due Time crew. Continue the constructive dialogue and teaching others to be better human beings. Amen, Athena. And Serge says, orange is the new gown.
Orange Captain.
Good one, Serge. Good one, Serge. Let's get our girl Vivian on here because I got some videos that I want to show before these ladies leave the room. Good morning, Viv.
You're muted.
Good morning. Hi, ladies.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
Good. I'm well, thank you. I'm well. You got 2 stories to pick from. You've got the dog killer. You've got the teacher killer, or you got the senior citizens killer. Which killer you got? Door number 1, 2, or 3? Is she frozen?
Is she being attacked by one of the killers? And now they don't want her to speak.
She's frozen, I think.
I think she's frozen.
All right. So hopefully she'll log off and get back on. In the interim, we'll pull up Pastor KL and we'll come back to Viv when she gets back on. Good morning, Pastor KL.
I'm Bosley today. Good morning. I'm Bosley.
Good morning, Bosley. You got the dog killer, the teacher killer, or the elderly killer. Which killer you taking?
Well, let's go with the dog killer because I really don't. The biggest thing I don't understand is why people giving up $1,000 for you to take my dog and give it away to someone else. It's not even coming back. So you're not even training it for me. You're trading for someone else. I'm thinking whoever wants the dog needs to be paying $1,000. I'm getting rid of the dog. So that whole concept from there made no sense to me. So you've had double loss. You lost the dog, and you lost your money. Right. That's ridiculous to me.
Right, man. All righty. Which of the other ones you want to take?
Let's do Dumb and Dumber in school. I think that's ridiculous. And now, not even for them, but for everybody else is setting this teacher up. You know, the teacher telling them to be quiet, and you better shut up before I do a Ronnie and Donnie on you. You know what I mean? It's just crazy. It's you're getting beat physically, but now mentally and emotionally, you're still being beat. And sometimes even if you get transferred to another school, your story goes with you. Everybody knows you got beat up. Everybody knows you were Shanae in that school, so you better not. No, it's okay. It's just sad.
Man, I tell you, they are crazy. Is Viv back?
No, her device just dropped again.
Oh, okay. As soon as she's on, pick up. We got some videos. We've got ripped from the headlines, video style. Okay, so hoping that these videos play.
Amen.
Boy, do we have some stuff to talk about. Did I hear just the beat come in?
No.
Right. Oh, okay. Let me.
Oh yes, 1 second.
All right. You there, Viv?
Yeah, can you guys
It's
hear me?
frozen again. Oh, okay. Yes. We hear you. Okay. 2 stories. Which one you want? Which killer?
take the kids.
All
The
right.
kids in the school
Yeah,
beating
with
up the
kids.
teachers.
Okay.
System issue, because this ain't comes to no surprise that these kids had plans to beat up the teachers. There wasn't no two innocent kids that just came out of nowhere and beat up the teacher.
Right.
I'm sure there were behavioral issues before, and I have witnessed in many of schools, they just taking these kids knowing that they have behavioral issues and throwing them in the classrooms and expecting the teachers to deal with it. I had a young boy who was probably 10 years old, and he was huge. And he would get so angry and start throwing things and cursing out the teachers. And they still kept letting this boy come back. No suspension, no nothing.
Wow.
I have one boy now. Now he's younger, but he has been kicked out of 3 schools already. He is 4 years old. He has been kicked out of 3 schools already. And of course, our school decides to take him with no action plan, just throws him into a classroom and expects the teachers to deal with it.
Wow.
So this is a system issue. They're not putting the right things in place to protect these teachers.
Wow. And he's gonna be beating up somebody later.
Exactly. He is 3 and 4 years old, and he gets so angry at this little age. He starts cursing. He starts spitting at the teacher, kicking at the teacher, and they are just still accepting it. Like, they'll send him home for the day. He'll come back tomorrow, and he'll do it again. And it's like, well, why did y'all take him in the first place? If y'all know he has behavioral issues and y'all took him with no action plan, y'all didn't give him a one-to-one so somebody could be there to help him. Y'all just threw him in the classroom. So this is definitely a system issue.
Wow. What's your second door?
The dogs. I've had that happen to me where I surrendered my dog because he was destructive and he was a pit bull. I surrendered him on, let's say, a Monday. By Tuesday, they euthanized him, told me that he was aggressive. I was like, no, he wasn't.
Oh, wow. But how would you know in a day like that? Wow.
Right. So I know the feeling. I didn't pay any money, thank goodness. I didn't have to pay anything. I think I did have to pay like a small fee to surrender him, but it wasn't like thousands or anything. I paid a small fee to surrender him. I called to check on him, and they said, oh, we had to euthanize him because he was aggressive.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
Oh, that's sad. These
Well,
people,
that could be.
So I know the feeling.
You know what? In not in defense, but sometimes, I've raised dogs for forever, and when you take on a new dog, there's a decompressing time where you have to, separate yourself from that dog. You can't try to be your dog's friend, because remember, the dog's been with another family all this time. So you're strange. So out of fear, the dog can be aggressive because they didn't properly deal with the dog, and that could be the issue. If it was in a day, but that makes no sense, because if it's in a day, especially the species, not to try to hug and love on a pit bull the first day.
Right. That's right. That's what I'm saying. You couldn't have been able to really assess the dog that quickly, because, like you said, the dog needs some time for transitioning and all kinds of things. You know what I'm saying? That's so cruel. That was cruel. A day, that was cruel. And I'm not even a dog lover, but that was cruel. That was cruel. Wow. Oh my goodness. Well, we get ready to play some videos, but we got a comment from Koya going back to the I guess what you were saying, Viv, about the kids. Koya says that's because the parents want to be friends and not disciplined parents. The type of disciplined parents, and the children don't have a healthy fear of their parents nowadays. Now, not like when we were growing up. Absolutely, our parents didn't play, and I definitely had a healthy fear. I think all 4 of us in this room could say the same thing. Also, children should think twice acting up in school and in public, because you represent your parents everywhere you go. Had you stepped out your house and cut up, child.
If I step out my house now at 39 and cut up, and you got 9-year-olds that can do whatever.
Absolutely.
Oh my! I just clutched my pearls, girl. You 39 years old?
Yes.
Lord Jesus, you was 5. What up? Oh my God!
Yeah.
Me and Pastor Steph is the captains and the queens of AARP.
Excuse me. Speak for yourself. Oh my goodness. Latoya says exactly, Shantice. Shantice, hit that first video for us, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Hopefully they'll play and they'll be obedient.
In the name of Jesus.
So I was going to consider it if he gave me the money back for paying the bills. And he told me no.
I'll start all over again.
Yeah.
So we can hear her from the top.
1 second. This because Pastor KL was shouting out my age.
You shouted out your age. I just
what if somebody missed it? What if somebody could have missed it?
Yeah.
They ain't have to hear the replay.
You almost in AARP.
This Pastor KL's fault.
He felt like he shouldn't have to do that. What do you mean? When I told you, as a man, I expect you to provide.
Alright, so Pastor Steph, we gonna try this one more time.
And he looked for me to pay the bills. Who paying what bills? So I was going to consider it if he gave me the money back for paying the bills. And he told me no. He felt like he shouldn't have to do that. What do you mean? When I told you, as a man, I expect you to provide. Under no circumstances will I ever touch bills as long as I got a husband. None. If you can, you can hear.
He probably happy you don't know.
I'm sure he missed me.
A headache?
Okay,
that would be a headache for me.
Because we're missing the essence of the video.
Well, we just missed the first part.
That was enough for me.
The only part we missed was when she said, my husband came home and told me he lost his job. And I said, okay, cool. But then a month went by. That's the only part that was missed. And then you heard the rest. And she said, I'll take care of the bills only if you pay me back. And he said no. And she said, what do you mean? I don't ever touch bills. It was never a consideration for me to touch bills if I have a husband.
Pastor KL.
Yes.
You're building.
Building a house.
You know what?
I want it to play from her mouth.
Okay, well, Pastor Steph, you got some comments that show that the viewers.
Yes, I see. We got a check-in. We got Terrence who says, "We're not missing that age for AARP." Okay, Terrence. Thank you very much. And we have a check-in from Giselle. Thank you for joining us, Giselle. Good morning. And she says she is wrong. We have. Just give me a minute. I don't know. I don't know. I'm real funny about this. I just like the I'm sorry. But Giselle caught enough to say she's wrong. And Vivian, I'll give you a shot at it since you're going to be leaving us in a minute. Based on what you heard.
Yeah, I actually came across that video before. She definitely is wrong. Very disgusting, but I'm not surprised because it's just some women's thoughts these days that they're so privileged that they shouldn't have to care about anything but themselves. Also, the man set up an environment to where she can think this way. So you had to have known that she was privileged like this when you married her. She said husband. So if they came to this agreement that she would not have to touch a bill, that he would take care of it, and now y'all never discuss what would happen if you were to lose your job, or what you expected of her if things didn't turn out the way that y'all planned it to turn out. So it seems like poor preparation and poor communication in terms of them getting married with this thought and idea in their mind that he would always take care of the bills and she would never have to touch a bill or worry about a bill. So it seems like poor communication on their part to move forward with the marriage without discussing things like that. But definitely a disgusting mindset that she needs to work on. And for the guy to be like, "Oh, I'm sure he's happy you're gone," and she's like, "No, I'm sure he misses me." She's just oblivious. Oblivious, and she'll just move on to the next relationship with the same mind frame and the same nasty privileged attitude, and she'll just keep on doing what she's doing. She don't see anything wrong with it.
Right. To even and I don't know if her response, "Oh, he just misses me," was a quip, or she really feels like, "Oh, he's just missing me because you just think you're that right." And that's the scary part, like you said. You know what I'm saying? Like, she's just oblivious, to the fact that it could even be wrong. You may think you're right, but you could be wrong. And for you to even come back so quickly is an indication that you're not even paying attention to anything. You're not even paying attention to anything. Thank you so much. Sorry you can't hang out with us. Gotta go pay the bills. And we pray that you have a blessed day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. You as well. Have a good day, everyone.
Have a good day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All righty. Pastor KL.
Yeah, I'm last week, Vivian and I didn't agree on nothing. But today I totally agree with everything that she says. You were so infatuated with this woman that my woman don't have to work. She don't have to do nothing. I'm going to take care of her. And now you're behind, ain't got no job. And your woman who you supported won't support you, which is the sad part. If someone's taking care of me, I'm going to make sure now when you down, I got your back. Where's the marriage? It seems like it's one-sided. And that's the sad part about it. And as everyone is saying, she doesn't think there's a problem. She really thinks she looked that good. Where let me tell you something. There's never a time when I went to the power bill and say put it on my looks. I can't do that.
That's right.
I gotta pay money. They don't care how many flips I do, how many chandeliers I swing from. They don't turn the lights off. And that's the bottom line.
Yep. Absolutely. Shantice.
Just give all of us a bad name. Let's just put bozo on every woman's forehead. Because it's just like, what are we doing? We cannot, and that's actually one of the first places my mind went to. Like, you, sir, helped to create this bozo. Because that is so unrealistic. First of all, why is my husband paying me back? If your money is mine and my money is yours, and our money is going into our home or our business or our whatever, how am I paying, or I owe my husband $10? What? Or my husband owe me $50. Unless you really messed up, some money, and you're like, all right, I know I had, my weekly money or whatever, but can I please? I'm like, all right, listen, I ain't gonna keep giving you more money when you already had what you needed. And because you just mismanage your money, now you tapping into some stuff that we should be saving. That's like, okay, you putting money back into the kitty. But this whole, well, this is mine, and so a month went by and all that. I thought she was gonna say, my husband came home and told me he lost his job, a month went by and he's still home doing nothing. That's what I thought she was gonna say. But when she went into,
that's what I thought she was gonna say.
Yeah, but when she went into the whole he said, well, I said I'll pay the bills, I considered it, but he said he wouldn't pay me back. Ain't these the same utilities you're utilizing?
Right.
These are the same utilities you are also utilizing. So it just helps all women to look bad.
Absolutely.
You know what? Listen. Shantisha said our money is together, which is true. How many times my wife has borrowed money? Hey, let me borrow $50. Hey, you got $100. 16, 17 years later, I ain't seen that $50, $100 yet. But she borrowed money. She borrowed money. Every week she borrowed money. It ain't always big money, but little money, comes up to big money.
Right.
I can have a whole nother wedding of all the money she owes me right now. So it's just ridiculous. It's really ridiculous to even think about paying back. And then the other side of it, she said I'll pay the bills. So to me, she got money. Because you gonna pay all the bills?
You ain't never paid the bills. You got
listen,
a whole lot of money.
You should have been paying the utilities at least. Something. The dog food. Something. You know what I mean? Before we got rid of the pit bull, you should have been paying for the puppy child. Something.
She should have a whole lot of money. She didn't even pay nothing. So, like you said, when he went down, it should have been nothing for her to take on the responsibility. Because hey, you've been banking yours, or you should have been banking yours.
Right.
Hope you weren't doing a whole bunch of other nonsense with it, and now you ain't got nothing. Oh my goodness gracious! All right, Shantice, what you got for us next? Hopefully, we'll have a little more success with the next one.
Yeah.
Pastor KL, could you see what was going on?
You're muted.
Yes. It looked like somebody was doing hair, and the child was acting like a fool. So that was the representative, because that was no true black mama. That's what I can tell you. Because it wouldn't have got that far. You did it one air and got hit in the air. You know, that'd have been it. And you would have went to your room. So I mean, yeah, and then for the customer to have to endure that and pay for it, no, I should have got plenty of discounts. All these tracks would have been free. I'd have paid for 2 tracks. I'm paying for 2 tracks. That's it. You know what I mean? Because listen, that Rod and our staff would have comforted her real quick. Real quick.
Shanties.
They just, as Koya said, there's just no fear for your parents anymore. Because back when I was a young lad, you would have just been too afraid to be doing all this crying to your mother like that.
39 years ago.
And
you know what?
That's why the videos were glitching.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Even in the private, now we're in the public, and I'm trying to make my money, and you ain't sitting down with your applesauce.
She said her applesauce.
And in your special chair and watching whatever cartoons I done put on for you. What? My mother would have I'd have got tied up with the tracks. The client would have had to go and buy new tracks. Well, I'm so sorry, but I have to use these as handcuffs and use the hair glue to glue the lips together and all that. But it's just like, what is happening here? What is that is just so and the mother is just like, she's so used to this.
Right.
She is so used to this. And this is why I do my own hair. Because there's no way. You know how much they charge to first of all, how old is this video? Because who's still using glue? Who's still gluing in the tracks? But you know how much they are charging to do this to your head, as Pastor Kale said, and now I gotta sit here. And first of all, I have to pray that the picture I showed you, I'll look like the picture. So already it's almost a hostile situation. Because as you're cutting these tracks and installing them, I'm now trying to look, and I'm looking at the photo a few times because this track will look a little higher than this one in the photo, but it ain't finished yet. So, okay. And then with glue, you got your child jumping on you. So if your child jumps on you in mid applying, you could possibly apply this glue to my scalp. And for those millennials, because again, nobody really uses glue, millennials and older who knows what it means to apply that hair glue in the wrong way on the wrong spot, that is your hair coming out. So I don't know, but that was just tacky at its best, because that was so unprofessional. She looked like back in the day when we would just sit out on the stoop and do your hair. It didn't matter what anything went then, because there was no money being exchanged, no nothing. It was just we outside chilling. You need your hair done, I come sit in between my legs. Let's hurry up and get this done, and we can play double dutch after. That's what that looked like. That didn't look like no paid client interaction.
And unfortunately, the video cut the patron's face off, because her face was classic. Her face was, first of all, she was an older woman. So it's like, if you don't do something with this kid, I'm going to do something with this kid. Not only that, I don't know if either one of you saw the scissors in her hand.
Yes.
She had scissors in her hand, in the same hand where the child is jumping, the same hand she's using to reach over to get the track from. So this child is jumping with these pointy scissors right there. And I'm like, and like you said, she's so used to this, it didn't even matter. She didn't even flinch. She didn't even flinch.
Wait.
All right.
That reminds me of the video you sent me, Pastor Steph, where the woman was doing the hair and the daughter kept calling her. And the more the daughter kept calling her, she kept stepping outside the room and cussing the daughter out. Like, I know you ain't calling me about some Pepsi. Drink the Pepsi. I'm doing my clients here. And it really just shows the epitome of especially a Black mother. Right. Like, I'm at work. You better, if the house is burning, you better apply those fire drills we've been going through, because I'm at work.
Okay. All right. Play that other video we talked about. You and I talked about, Shantice.
Yes.
I hope this one plays so we can hear properly.
Okay.
No success?
No, I can try one more thing. Pastor Steph, that reminds of when we used to call you on your job.
Oh, please. KL, I used to tell the receptionist, I left. I'm going. Don't you I used to get up from my desk and go to the reception area and tell her, if they call here, you better not put another call through. I don't care what they tell you. If the police are standing at the door, if the fire department is standing at the door, if the EMS is standing at the door, I don't care. Whatever needs to happen will happen. I'll find out about it when I get home. They would, oh my goodness gracious, they would wear me out. I hang up from one and then the other one was calling. And then as soon as I hang up from that one, the other one was calling. And I used to go up to the front and I said, Terry, don't you put another call back.
Don't you miss those days, Pastor Steph?
Don't you put another call. I'm going to whip you if you put another call back to my desk. Oh, they were horrible. They were hard. And I would be on the phone going, y'all don't realize y'all calling my job? And they're arguing and they're fighting. And neither one of them thought, okay, we can't call mommy's job. Like, yo, you have lost your ever loving minds. But I got to the point one day, I said, I'm going. And I don't care who's standing at the door. I don't care who's standing at the door. Let whoever in. Let the robber come in. Let the con man come in.
Oh, man. Oh, my.
You know,
look at how she set us up for success.
I don't care who you let come in. Just open the door. If they're going to snatch you, let them snatch you.
Listen, Courtney used to call me. First of all, I'm at work. She called me. Hey, Dad, what you doing? I'm working. What you want? Well, I got a problem. I got a math problem. Can you help me with this math problem? I said, you're going to fail that class. Get off my phone. You're going to fail that class. Get off my phone.
Get beat for failing. So we ask for the help. And then you tell me I'm going to fail. And then when I fail, you act all flabbergasted and taking it back.
I like.
He's on a job. You can't do your homework with me on the job.
Well, maybe you should have partnered up with someone who was smarter, so I wouldn't need all this extra help.
How about this? If Johnny calls me 4 times, and I tell Johnny to stop calling me 4 times, and Johnny called me two more times, how many times does Johnny get beat?
If Johnny called me 5 times and I told you to stop calling and Johnny called one more time, we're not going to be able to eat tomorrow because there will be no paycheck. How many donuts will we get to eat?
There'll be no Johnny. Forget about the paycheck. There'll be no Johnny.
Oh my gosh, you have got to be kidding me. Okay. I could Monopoly.
So please tell me why I found out that my husband was cheating on me. But instead of being mad, I actually got in touch with the lady who he is cheating on.
What happened?
No, because it was.
I didn't even care about the video. We had the sound bites.
And told her that she might as well just move in because it looks like he's not going to stop talking to her. He then gets mad at me because I called her and told her that she can move in with us. Yes, ma'am, you can. I'm not mad. Hey, listen, take the load off of me. First of all, his sex is whack. I'm tired of having sex with him anyway. So I can do the dishes, take care of the kids, clean the house, and you can have sex with him like how y'all been doing. Now he is mad at me because he's saying I shouldn't have did that. You shouldn't have been cheating. But now that you're cheating and I found out about it, why am I mad? I'm not mad, sir. How you mad because I'm not mad? That's crazy. Sir, let the lady come and stay with us and we could be one big happy family. Ain't nobody got to know.
Pastor Cam.
Ain't
nobody gotta know.
No. First of all, his response was a response from a man that got busted, and he don't know how to fully respond. Her response is a woman who's hurt, and she's pretending like she's really not hurt and not bothered by it. But let that lady come move up in there. It's gonna be War 50. And so you telling me you pleasing my husband and I'm doing the dishes? Really? That's what we doing? And everything is okay. I'm a cook. I'm gonna do the dishes and you gonna serve him. I'm gonna serve you. Really? That's what we doing? No. I just she's hurt. He's busted. Those are the responses.
Shot tease.
In my once upon a time life, according to the documents of the streets, she can move in. But so is my boyfriend. Because that's the only way this gonna make sense.
Oh, Lord Jesus, my heart just dropped.
How is it?
Because your heart in my head.
How is it that this wasn't something that we agreed upon? We didn't agree to have an open marriage, which never works. But we didn't agree to have an open marriage. But I find out you cheating and I'm okay with her moving in, or I'm okay with it at all, and I'm not doing me. That just don't happen out here in the real society. So I don't know. No. Unless you and your woman take the east wing and me and my man take the west wing and we take turns as to when we come in the middle to get the kids from the middle wing, this don't make absolutely no sense. There is no, as Pastor KO said, there is no way. I know you're sexually pleasing my man, but I'm going to wash the plate y'all ate the strawberries off of. You poured the chocolate syrup.
Oh, what? The strawberries.
What?
Thank God for Jesus.
Let's be for real. Let's be for real.
She went to the Bible. It was great to the Bible.
Y'all got this whole romantic setup going on, but I'm gonna be the maid. I'm gonna be the housekeeper. No, and I don't have mine up in here. Absolutely not. That she's not hurt. She you know what? She probably thought she couldn't pull him anyway, and she did. And
you the field Negro.
And her inner self is saying, "Girl, I told you wasn't gonna even get that man." But now, see, now it's coming to fruition. Now I told you couldn't get that man, so somehow you got him, and you can't keep him. So you might as well just settle for what you can do, because see, it'll be even more embarrassing if he move her in and kick you out. So now you got to keep your place in the house. How do I keep my place in the house? I'll agree to taking care of the kids and doing the dishes, all the things that the side chick doesn't want to do. The side chick don't want responsibilities. So I'll maintain the responsibilities while she gets the fun, or what she thinks is fun.
Father, in the name of Jesus, I stretch my hand to thee.
I don't care where we go. She goes the extra mile.
How is that extra?
How my goodness.
So she wants to make this whole candlelit dinner, but I'm washing the dishes, and then y'all probably ain't even gonna feed the kids. So she done came in here, cooked for you two. Y'all eating dinner, but the kids are hungry when I come in.
Shantice, repeat after me. I believe Jesus died for my sins.
My due time crew. Thank you so much for your contribution into today's conversation. And we pray you have a blessed day.
You as well. You as well.
All right. Let's see what these let's get this benediction. The Lord will keep you from all harm. He will watch over your life. The Lord will watch over your coming and going, both now and forevermore. Psalm 121, 7 and 8. Let's see what these last couple of comments say. She probably is happy because she wasn't satisfied with them anyway. Pressure off her. Yes, which is what she was saying. Pastor KL said that, she wasn't being honest. She was speaking from a hurt place, and he was speaking from a surprised place, a caught out there, a deer in headlights place. I don't know about the hurt place. I know about the place where there was no way in the world she was going to, even though she said it, I agree. There's no way in the world you're going to have been this wife all along, and then your husband shifts gear on you, and he gets the little side piece and brings her into the home, and then you'll be all right. You'll be all right. You're gonna be all right. No, that would have happened for all of one time, and then they would have been called on the cops because the two of them would have been fighting, or she would have been dragging her around the house or something. There's no way in the world you would have ever agreed to that. Let's talk about the child in the hair salon. That wasn't that child's first time cutting up like that. This is a child who is accustomed to, if I cry long enough, if I cry loud enough, if I jump up and down long enough, if I pull on your clothes, I'm going to get what I want to get. I am going to get your attention. I am going to get the things that I'm asking you for. I'm going to get the things that I need. And you have become very accustomed to doing this when no one is around. But then when someone's around, you're going to act as though it's not affecting you. And you have your customer who's sitting in the chair, who is enduring all of this. And because there was some little fuzziness, you couldn't see the child bumping the chair, and the customer is getting hit in the back, and the chair is rocking, and you got some scissors near my head, and my head is going back and forth because your child keeps hitting, or hitting the back of my chair, or either we're gonna have to stop you doing my hair in midway because you got scissors, and the child just got stuck with the scissors in its eye, in its ear, in its head, in its face, somewhere, and now you got to rush off to the emergency room. And I was watching the video, and I was saying to myself, she would have had to stop. You know what? Do me a favor. If that was the stuff that I brought, put it back in the bag. I would have gotten up and I would have left. There is not, if she offered it to me for free, there is no way in the world I would have accepted that. No, you could not tell me that this is professionalism. First of all, your child on your job is already an issue. Already an issue. And listen, you're talking about a single mother of three. And I didn't have them back to back, so I had little gaps. Well, I had a big gap, and then I ended up having a bigger gap. So I didn't have, like those three little toddlers like people do. I couldn't have done that. That would drive me crazy. But I had 3 kids at one point, and I had 2 of them, like I said, that were, it was a nice gap, but I still had 2 of them at the same time. So I understand what it is to need to take care of business and have children. But this is not the way to get it done. If I had to lose that client and tell that client, I'm so sorry, this is not going to work. This is not going to work. Thank you so much, but I'm going to have to call it a day. If you want to give me another chance at this, then do so, please. But if not, I understand. But there's no way I would have even tried. No way I would have even tried. It was so unfair to the customer for you to even make the attempt at that point. Give it up. Give it up. And make that your last time scheduling an appointment and bringing that child into the salon. That was horrific. Horrific. First of all, those of us who normally go to the salon and get our hair, that can be grueling in and of itself. That just moving from chair to chair, and you gotta wait, and then they got somebody else in the chair, and it can be grueling. And I going through that would have been it. The first woman, where she got married and told her husband she would never touch a bill. He lost his job. She agreed. She said she thought she could. She said she would. And then she figured she'd just have him pay her back. And then she realized, no, I'm not going to do it. And, the man who was interviewing her said, hey, you know what? I know you're glad he's gone. He's glad you're gone. She says, well, I know he misses me. Just a gut reaction. Embarrassed. You were embarrassed that he said that to you. So that was your response. Any woman in these days and times who feels that way is not, men, hear me and hear me well. As a woman, she is not worth you at all. If you don't have a woman who is pitching in with you, and I mean going toe to toe in the pitching in. We're not talking about this 50-50. We're not going to talk about 70-30. We're going to talk about meeting one another on a consistent basis where you are. I've got your back. You've got my back at all times. I am going to make sure I do these things, and you're going to make sure you do those things. Not out of obligation, because women do this or women do that, or men do this and men do that. No, but because we love one another and we've made this commitment to one another. And this is how we're going to honor the vows that we've made. This was her husband. This was not her man, wasn't her boyfriend. This was her husband. And he knew. I know he had to know. She didn't pull this out of her hat once they got married. This is something that he knew in advance. He knew in advance, and he opted for that. Maybe he thought she was going to get better. Maybe he thought that's something she was just saying, but no. He learned the hard way that when he was on his back, down and out, you could not rely on her to even keep the lights on, to even make sure we were warm, to even keeping the water flowing in the house, to even buy the food for the house, to even keep the products running in the house, the toiletries or whatever it is, household goods. You don't want nobody like that. And women, neither do you. If this is what the person is offering you, that's not the person God has for you. And that's how I'm going to leave it. All right. Craft Corner, our girl Nicole. Make sure you hit her up and let her know that you want your mugs and drinkware branded. She does a beautiful job. If you check out With All Due Respect with Shantice and V on Friday nights, every other Friday, you'll get to see some of the other beautiful work that Nicole has done for this franchise. All right. So check it out. Check it out. Black Panther. Compliments of It's Personalized Here.com. All right. Make sure you go to them for all of your embroidery needs. You will not be disappointed. Every day I'm branded. Every day I'm branded. So make sure you join me. If you're liking something that I wear, just hit me up and find out, how can I get in touch? Make sure you go into the chat room. The information should always be in the chat room. www.itspersonalizedhere.com, and you will definitely be able to get your embroidery needs met. Okay? You've been watching It's Due Time with Pastor Steph. Join us Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 9 a.m. where we discuss matters of the heart, mind, and spirit. As you go through your day, be sure to set your mind on things that are above, not on things that are on the earth. They will only serve as a distraction. Remember, prayer changes things. It's Pastor Steph signing off, and I want to thank my Due Time crew for always coming through big time. Thank you for hanging out with us and keeping that chat room live. Okay? Everybody loves to talk in the chat room. Make sure you join the conversation. Okay? Please take this moment to accept Jesus as your personal Savior. Please take this moment to strengthen that relationship with the Lord, because later is not promised to any of us. Until tomorrow, God spares, where it's Freestyle Friday. Until then, I love you.